I'm Mike. I'm here to talk about my grandmother, Sarah Catherine Dodd, but to me she's Mammy. And we're here to tell some stories that we've heard through the years, and there are many. And I don't want to hijack some of the stories that may be told after mine, but I will tell you a couple of things that I remember about my grandmother. I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is when I was 15 years old, I went to Jackson, Mississippi. She was no longer living on Arbor Vista, and I don't remember the name of the street that she was on at that time, but I was there by myself. My brother was not there with me. He's David, who's a year younger than I. And I had an occasion to want something from the store. And I told Mammy that I needed something. And she tossed me the keys to her car. And it was the first time that anyone had ever suggested that I might be old enough or responsible enough to go to the store in a car by myself. And I remember cranking up that car and pulling out of the driveway, and the sense of freedom that I had as I drove down the road for the first time. And I think that probably anybody that has ever driven a car knows that sense of freedom the first time that you get to do that. And Mammy gave me that for the first time. That's just the first part of what I want to tell you about her. What I really want to tell you about my grandmother is her devotion to Pappy. It was something to behold. In their later years, Mammy and Pappy lived with, they lived in Birmingham, where my family lived. And as they got older, Pappy's mind deteriorated somewhat, and they came to live with my mother, father, and me and my brothers. And as they got older, Pappy's mind deteriorated, and there was discussion in the house about whether or not he needed to be put into a home. And Mammy would not hear of it. But as time went on, it became more and more evident that it was something that had to be done. And though they moved into the house, and there were measures taken that we had to undertake to make sure that he, was not a danger to himself. At some point, he had to go into a home, but Mammy never gave up on him. To my knowledge, I don't think there was a single day that she did not go to see him in the home that we eventually had to put him in. I went with her on many occasions. For the first couple of years, he knew who she was, and was very glad to see her. But for the last couple of years, he didn't know who she was. And she was basically, to him, a stranger. But he was not a stranger to her. And she was That's better. Hi, this is Mike again, and I'm back to tell one more story because the one story that I think that everybody talks about every time we always get together actually wasn't told, so I'm going to tell it very briefly. As you may have heard before, Mammy was very fashion conscious. She not only loved her dresses and her girdles, but she also loved her shoes. And was very conscious of the way she dressed. But she also had a bladder the size of a peanut. And we've all known this for years and years, and there's been stories that have been passed down through the ages about Mammy and having to go to the bathroom at inopportune times. But there's one that just tops the cake, and that's the one I want to share with you today. And the story goes, obviously I wasn't there, but when Mammy and Pappy were a young couple, they were on a road trip, and they were traveling down the road, and Mammy, as always, had to go to the bathroom, and Pappy didn't want to stop. He prolonged the stop in the bathrooms to the point where Mammy actually really had to go. And to prove her point that she had to go now, she took off her shoe while she was in the car and proceeded to, I guess, straddle it and pee in her shoe. She then handed the shoe to Pappy, thinking that he was going to dump it out the window and hand it back to her, so obviously she could go and clean it. But he proceeded to toss the shoe out the window and never to be seen again. And that's something that's been passed down forever. I hope you enjoy that.